Hi, hello, good morning, my dear students. So, welcome back to Need with Kiran sir. So, today we are going to start with a chapter called as a morphology of flowering plants, or you can say morphology of angiosperm. So, as per this chapter is concerned, it is included in class 11, that is in the second unit called as the morphology of plants and animals. So, when I begin with this chapter, so we are going to start with an important structures. Okay, so when I talk about a plant, it is going to have different parts of the plant. Because when I say root, stem, leaf, flower, fruit, etc. So here we are going to study the detailed aspect regarding the root and its modification, stem and its modification, then leaf, types of leaf, phyllotaxy and its modification, then flower, different parts of the flower, then we'll go with the androecium, gynoecium, sepals and petals, then go with the estivation, placentation, then ends with the structure of seed, then embryo, then we'll go with the fruit, then finally we are going to end up with the three important families, namely a Solanaceae, Liliaceae and a Fabaceae. Okay, begin with the first one. So look at the different parts of the plant body. So when I say part of the plant body, we are going to generally divide it into two types. One is a vegetative part, second one a reproductive part. So as we have already aware that, so when I talk about vegetative part, they do not involve in the sexual reproduction. So when I say vegetative part, again, it includes root, stem and leaf. Okay, root, stem and leaf, these three are going to consider as the vegetative parts of the plant body. Similarly, when I talk about the reproductive part, so it is flower, then the production. Okay, when I say reproduction, the end products are the fruit and seed. So they are considered as the reproductive parts, that is flower, fruit and seed. So begin with the first one. So when the seed undergoes germination, it able to produce the two parts. One is we called as radicle and second one a plumule. So when I say radicle, it is nothing but the future root system, whereas plumule nothing but it is a future shoot system. So radicle and plumule, they are the part of the embryo. When I talk about the embryonic axis, it has two parts. The upper part we call it as plumule, that give rise to a shoot system, whereas the basal part will give rise to the root system. So this is a basic idea regarding the vegetative as well as the reproductive parts of the plant body. So when I say morphology, it is nothing but a branch of biology deals with the study of external character or external appearance. So when I say plant morphology, it is restricted to only plants. Okay, the study of external characters of a plant. Generally, we are going to call it as the morphology of plants, or you can say morphology of flowering plants. Since we are very restricted ourselves to only the angiosperm, that is flower bearing plant, we are already studied what do you mean by the angiosperm in the plant kingdom. So begin with the first concept in this chapter is the regions of the root. So when you consider a growing root, so it has three distinct regions here. The first regions we are going to call it as a region of meristematic activity. The region of meristematic activity. The second one, the region of elongation, and third one, the region of maturation. So you can observe, as per the CET or NEET is considered, there are certain questions. Which of the following zone has root hairs? Or which of the following zone helps in elongation of the root? Or which of the following zone will helps in the growth of the root? So when I say growth, it is nothing but region of meristematic activity, as because the meristematic cell go on adding a new cell which increase the length. So here the newly added cell undergo a second zone called as zone of elongation, where the cells undergo elongated structure. So it increases the length of the root. And third one, when the same cell enter into the third zone, that is called as a zone of maturation, where the undifferentiated cell undergo maturation to form xylem, phloem, parenchyma, collenchyma, etc. The typical character of zone of maturation is it going to possess a root hair. You can ask, what is the meaning of root hair? So they are the unicellular outgrowth of the epidermis of the root, which are helps in absorption of water and minerals. Okay, absorption of water and minerals, they are called as root hair. So it is a characteristic feature of the region of maturation. So when I talk about region of elongation and region of meristematic activity, there is no presence of root hair. Hence indirectly I can say that only the zone of zone of maturation helps in absorption of water. Is it clear? Then again, when I come for the meristematic activity, it need an extra protection. So that extra protection will be provided by the presence of a root cap, which is made up of a parenchyma. Then the root cap will help in the drilling of soil, which penetrate a root into a soil region. Soil ಒಳಗಡೆ root ಅನ್ನ deep ಆಗಿ penetrate ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಾಗ್ತದೆ. So here it is in the form of wear and tear manner. So during drilling, sometime it may lost and it going to appear again and again. So that is a protective covering which going to helps in the protection of meristematic tissue as well as helps in the penetrating the soil. So this is about the region of root. Then we'll go for the types of roots. So when I say various type of fruit, you'll go with a basic concept here. When the seed undergoes germination, there is a formation of a radical. So, and we already know that radical give rise to the future root system. So here, if the radical direct elongates, okay, if the root system is nothing but the direct elongation of the radical, then we are going to call it as taproot system, and it is very common in case of what all the dicotyledonous plant. Okay, direct elongation of a radical, we are going to call it as a taproot system. Similarly, so here in case of the fibrous root, so when I say fibrous root, due to some reason the radical dies at an early stage and the base of the stem produces a unbranched bunch of fruit, they are called as fibrous root, and it is very common in case of all the monocotyledonous plant. If the third case, if the roots are arise from any other parts, okay, arise from any other parts of the plant body except radical, andre radical ಅನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ಯಾವ್ದಾರ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ ರೂಟ್ಸ್ ಅರೈಸ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಏನಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ, ಅಡ್ವೆಂಟೀಷಿಯಸ್ ರೂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಇನ್ನು ಬ್ರಾಡ್ ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ರಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ ಫೈಬ್ರಸ್ ರೂಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಅಡ್ವೆಂಟೀಷಿಯಸ್ ರೂಟ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಬರೋಣ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ತವೆ, ಟ್ಯಾಪ್ ರೂಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಕಾಮನ್ ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಡೈಕಾಟಿಲಿಡಾನಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್. ಫೈಬ್ರಸ್ ರೂಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಮೊನೋಕಾಟಿಲಿಡಾನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಅಡ್ವೆಂಟೀಷಿಯಸ್ ರೂಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ, ಬನಿಯನ್ ಟ್ರೀ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೇನಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ, ಪ್ರಾಪ್ ರೂಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. ಮೇಜ್ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಸ್ಟಿಲ್ಟ್ ರೂಟ್, ಅಂಡ್ ರೈಸೋಫೋರಾ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಿರೇಟರಿ ರೂಟ್ಸ್. ಆಲ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಮಾಡಿಫೈಡ್ ರೂಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಅಡ್ವೆಂಟೀಷಿಯಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಈಗ, ಅದರ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ radical. If they are arising from the bunch in the form of bunch at the base of the stem, we call it as a fibrous root. Or in dicots, the direct elongation of the radical give rise to what, the taproot system. Then so when I go with the root modification, so first you have to remember what is the term means modification. So modification include change in the structure to perform a different function or respective function. For example, when I talk about the function of fruit, simply we can say helps in absorption of water and mineral, providing anchorage to the plant. So here, apart from these two functions, if the root is performing some other function like the storage of food, respiration, nitrogen fixation, other than these function, okay, for example, other than absorption of water and mineral, it's performing the different function, then the normal structure of root is not favorable to perform those function. Andre normal iruvanta root structure adike favor madalla, adike enagbeku ಈಗ, it has to change its structure ಅನ್ನ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. So when you go for changing the structure, ultimately it has to perform the different function. So when you go with the modification, so I already telling in my regular classes also, you have to keep in 3 questions in your mind. So what is the term of that modification, how it is changed as a second question. Number 1, what is the term for that modification. Second one, how it is going to change its structure. And third one, what is a function for that. Okay, what is the function for that. First one, I will go with the first one, you call it as carrot. So here when I go with the carrot, that is called as conical root. Okay, carrot is an example for a conical root. So when I say conical root, remember it is in the form of cone shape. How it is changed? Cone shape. For what purpose it has undergo changes? For storage of reserved food material. Then what is the example? It is carrot. Similarly, when we go with the sweet potato, turnip. So when I consider turnip, it is called as napiform root. Why it is called as napiform? It is broad at the base. Imagine this portion is called as a base and this is apex, because the root will grow from this end to this end. Okay, this is the growing tip of the root. Hence we call it as apex and this is base. So here it is broad at the base and tapering towards the apex. So that is called as what? Napiform root. Again, how it is changed? Base is broad, tapering towards the tip. So why it is changed? That is storage of reserved food material. Then third one we call it as fusiform root. When I say fusiform, swollen in the middle. Okay, it is swollen in the middle and tapering towards both ends. That is called as fusiform root. Example is radish. Then there is another example, we call it as a pneumatophore. So remember, in case of pneumatophore, it is commonly found in the mangrove plant. So that is called as halophytes also. So where the roots are growing vertically up down. Sorry, vertically upright. So here remember, when I say root, it has two important property. One is it always grow positively geotropic and negatively phototropic. Positively geotropic means inside the soil and negatively phototropic means away from the light. But in case of pneumatophore, it is exactly reverse. That is negatively geotropic, positively phototropic and meant for the respiration or exchange of gases. Similarly, in case of the rhizobium, so when I talk about the leguminous plant, the roots going to show the nodules on the root. They are commonly called as a root nodule. So when I say root nodule, there is a presence of a specific bacteria called as a rhizobium bacteria, which is helps in or which is living in a symbiotic association, helps in nitrogen fixation. So when I talk about symbiotic association, remember the plant providing food and shelter for the bacteria, in turn the bacteria providing the fixation of atmospheric nitrogen into the root. So this is one example. So similarly, when I talk about adventitious root, so when I say prop root, these are the vertically, okay, so these are the lateral root, okay, which are arising from the branches which grow vertically downwards. Okay, when you look at the banyan tree, so they will grow vertically downwards and reach the soil to provide extra, you can say additional mechanical support in case of banyan tree or alad mara anta ಹೇಳ್ತೇವೆ. Similarly, when I talk about maize, sugarcane, the lower nodal region shows obliquely growing root. They are called as stilt root. So these are the certain example. When I talk about a tuberous root, we call it as a sweet potato. So for this, you have to remember, make a table. Okay, name of the modification, put a heading root, name of the particular modification, okay, modification of the ಹೆಸರು ಬರೀರಿ, then go with the next point, that is why, how it is modified, then why it is modified, and last column will be the how it, what is the example. So make 4 column, name of the modification, how it is modified, what purpose it is modified, and last one, what is the example. Okay, this is about the root system. Okay, so I'll stop here. I will continue with stem and leaf in a next video. I hope my dear students kindly subscribe and click on bell icon to get a regular updates regarding the videos on NEET with Kiran sir. I hope you understanding my videos. Okay, if you understand my video, kindly click a like and try to share this video as many as possible. Okay, thank you so much for watching.